Welcome to MMO Grinder's Sidequest, where I take a look at early open or closed betas, subscription trials, and simpler titles, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Adventure Time Battle Party, a browser-based MOBA of the popular Cartoon Network series currently in an early beta. If enough interest arises and the game gets made into something full-time, I'll likely take a look at this one as a browser-based, but let's see how the game is shaping up now. The graphics in the game eschew the hand-drawn sprites or pixel renders of the previous games that have been made about Adventure Time, this time going for simple 3D renders using the Unity engine. They don't look the best, but they're okay to clearly represent each character, even if some of the characters don't really lend themselves well to the rendered design. Let's just say that Lumpy Space Princess doesn't look so much lumpy as a floating purple glob of soft-serve ice cream. Or poop if you really want to go that obvious route. A problem with the game's windowed mode is that right now it's absurdly easy to end up clicking off the screen, and if you happen to hit a link, you'll not only end up looking away from the game, you'll actually leave the match entirely. It's highly recommended to play this game in full screen mode to avoid that issue, but I have noticed an odd issue of my cursor resetting its position randomly, which has forced me to make many a cheap mistake. Although that could all be on my computer, it is something to be wary of. Music remains pretty simple, but catchy enough to the point that it does get stuck in my head, and I do notice it, especially the music that plays on the character select screen. There's also a nice touch where you'll get a speedy guitar track to play anytime someone takes down a tower, or the more intense music that starts playing as the match timer runs out. Sound work is simple and effective, with a MOBA standard of having characters speak their lines or have a distinct sound when using a certain skill. Prepare to be amused or annoyed by Lemongrab screaming unacceptable or how long you're being sent to the dungeon for.
1 million years dungeon!
He tends to exaggerate. The MOBA map goes under a bit of a rework, having only 2 lanes, a side and a mid-jungle. 1 defensive tower in each lane and another in the main base next to your defense point. All matches are 3 versus 3, and you can choose to play against bots or people. Throughout the map are capture points to give temporary buffs to a team, and boss minions who will also grant team buffs if they're defeated. A major gameplay difference is the match timer. No game can last longer than 15 minutes. If no team manages to take down the enemy base in time, the team with the most points at the end of the match will automatically win, even if they've never taken down an enemy structure. Killing minions grants your team a single point. Jungle minions range from 5 to 20 points, and a player kill is 25 points. Skills are extremely simplified. You have 3, 2 main skills and your ultimate. There's no mana or energy pool to have to worry about, so you can use your skills anytime that they're off of cooldown, which rarely lasts all that long. Like Dota-style MOBAs, the controls are all click to move, however you move with left click, not right click, as right click pings the map. There's no ability to return to base. If you want to heal up, you have to walk back or find potions that are scattered around the map. There are no items to collect or buy with gold. Instead, you choose from a set of backpacks, which are like preset item builds. Each level you can place a point into one of these items to augment your character. Rarely do matches last long enough for you to ever go beyond even level 10, and there's no way to get full points in everything. Getting assists and kills seems buggy as of now, and rarely seems to benefit anyone but the person who hit last. The characters are a smaller but decently sized cast of Adventure Time favorites, obviously including Finn and Jake, along with Ice King, Gunther, Princess Bubblegum, and some lesser-seen characters like Rattleballs. You'll find a lot of other MOBA analogs in some of these character movesets, and it's hard not to make the comparisons. Jake's ult where he grows in size to stomp foes is very similar to Vamana from Smite, and Fiona's ult where she gains immunity from death for 6 seconds is exactly the same way Tryndamere works from League of Legends. You don't have to dive into a player match with an unfamiliar character. You can play any character at any time, in practice mode, bot matches, or player matches. First and foremost, this is a kid's game on a kid's website. If the registration process, which doesn't let you choose your name, instead having to pick from a list of 3 words, isn't enough of a clue for that, the players certainly will be. It's pretty obvious that many of the players don't really know how MOBAs work, and if you go in solo with any general idea about kit drops, player combos, jungling paths, or even type matchups, you will dominate the competition. Bots are actually harder to play against. I tend to notice that going with 2 friends in a pre-made match usually does tend to match you up with people who actually know what they're doing if you're looking for an actual challenge from the players. I'm not even all that good at MOBAs of this type, and I was able to take out a group of 3 players by myself, killing them so often they all quit the match on me, granting me an easy victory. Speaking of which, people quit these matches. A lot. It's possible a lot of it might be accidental, an aforementioned result of how easy it is to exit this game on accident, but I'm certain that's not always the case. There's no penalty for quitting, at least so far, but if you're stuck on a team where everyone is ready to abandon ship, You'll get a defensive boost if one person leaves, and an attack boost if you're left by yourself. Guess my 1v3 victory wasn't all that impressive. If you're afraid the entire game is going to be filled with everyone's favorite MOBA rage, know that as a kid's game, you cannot talk to each other in the traditional sense. Instead, you can access a drop-down menu for a list of preset commands. Think of it like Smite's VGS system, except far less useful. However, this does make this game ideal for those who like the idea of MOBAs, just not the people in them. So far, everything in this game is free, and probably and hopefully will remain that way. You earn coins after each match, which you can use to buy the fairly cheap alternate backpacks or the absurdly expensive alternate costumes, of which there are very few. You should even have enough coins after creating an account to purchase an alternate backpack once you have a good idea behind character builds. Adventure Time Battle Party is actually a lot more fun than I was expecting. There's a solid game here, even if it's very much a baby's first MOBA. I've always said that this genre was rife for any franchise with a colorful cast of characters, and even if you're not a fan of Adventure Time, you might get quite a bit of enjoyment out of this title. Here's hoping some balance issues are addressed, bugs get ironed out, and it makes its way out of the beta stage to be an actual draw to Cartoon Network's library of games. This has been an MMO Grinders Sidequest, and it's time I logged out.